Hey everyone, as a veterinarian, one of the biggest things people ask me about is stress and anxiety in their dogs. And it's such an important topic because, well, an anxious dog is an unhappy dog. So today, we're going to break down what anxiety really is, how you can actually spot it in your own dog, and most importantly, what we can do to help them live a happier, more confident life.
Does this sound familiar? Maybe your dog just falls apart when you grab your keys. Or maybe 4th of July is the worst night of the year in your house. If that rings a bell, I promise you, you're not alone. And the first thing to remember is that this isn't a bad dog. This is a dog who's feeling completely overwhelmed. Understanding why they're acting this way is the first real step to helping them.
So what is anxiety really? Well, at its most basic, it's the anticipation of danger. I love this analogy. Think of it like a smoke alarm. A normal, healthy smoke alarm is a good thing, right? It keeps us safe. Anxiety is supposed to be like that, a survival instinct. But the problem starts when that alarm gets way too sensitive, and it starts going off when you're just making toast. That's when it stops being helpful and really starts to affect their quality of life.
Okay, so let's get into the why, because to really help our dogs, we have to understand where all this worry might be coming from. And it's almost never just one single thing. It's usually a mix of different factors.
Generally, we can group anxiety into 3 main buckets. You've got fear-related anxiety. That's the classic stuff like thunderstorms, fireworks, maybe even the vacuum cleaner. Then there's separation anxiety, which is a huge one. Some studies show it affects about 14% of dogs. These are the pups that just can't cope with being alone. And finally, there's age-related anxiety. As our dogs get older, some can develop something called cognitive dysfunction syndrome, which is kind of like Alzheimer's in people, and that can bring on a lot of confusion and anxiety.
And when we're talking causes, I have to talk about puppyhood. There is this incredibly important critical window of time. From about 3 to 14 weeks of age, we call it the socialization period. Gentle, positive experiences with all sorts of new things during this time. Sights, sounds, people. It builds a foundation of confidence that can literally last a lifetime. It's probably the single best preventative measure we have.
So how do we know what our dogs are feeling? They can't just tell us, hey, I'm feeling really worried right now. But they are talking to us all the time through their behavior and their body language. It's really up to us to learn how to listen with our eyes.
Now, some signs are pretty hard to miss, right? These are the big ones that usually have people calling the vet. Chewing up the door frame, barking nonstop, having accidents in the house. I want to be really clear here. These are not acts of revenge because you left. They are symptoms of genuine panic.
But, anxiety isn't always that loud. It often starts with much quieter signals. A yawn when they couldn't possibly be tired, a quick lick of their lips, or when you see the whites of their eyes. We call that whale eye. These are little signs of discomfort. They're basically your dog's way of saying, I'm not okay with this. If you can spot these subtle cues, you can step in and help them before things get out of hand.
You can really see the difference when you put them side by side. Just look. On the left, a relaxed dog. See the soft eyes, the loose, wiggly body, the neutral tail? Now look at the anxious dog on the right. Everything is tight, the body is rigid, the tail is tucked, the ears are pinned back, and the eyes are wide. Learning to spot this difference is like becoming fluent in dog. So, if you're seeing these signs, what's the next step? The single most important thing you can do is team up with your veterinarian. It is so important that we don't just jump to the conclusion that it's behavioral. We have to be good detectives first and make sure nothing else is going on.
And I get it. You might be wondering, okay, what's that visit actually going to be like? The whole point isn't to judge you or your dog. It's for us to gather all the clues and work together to figure out a plan. The process is pretty straightforward. First, we just talk.
Honestly, your story, what you see at home, is the most valuable piece of the puzzle. Then, of course, a full physical exam. And then this part is absolutely critical. We need to rule out other medical problems. So many things, like chronic pain, can look just like anxiety. Only after we've done that can we confidently say what we're dealing with and build a plan together.
And that brings us to the best part, the part I really want you to hear. There is so much hope. Anxiety in dogs is absolutely a manageable condition. Now, it takes patience, for sure, and consistency. But you can make a huge, profound difference in your dog's life.
So let's look at what works versus what really doesn't. On the effective side, we've got things like predictable routines, positive training, and giving them a safe space that's all their own. But it's just as important to know what to avoid. Punishment, yelling, scolding, all it does is add more fear to the situation. And that famous guilty look, that's not guilt, it's appeasement. It's your dog reading your angry body language and trying to say, please don't be mad at me, not, I feel bad about chewing that shoe 3 hours ago.
One of the most powerful tools we have is something called desensitization. Here's how it works. You find the trigger, let's say it's the jingle of your keys. Then you introduce it at a super low level, so quiet it doesn't even cause a reaction. The second they stay calm, you reward them with something amazing. And then slowly, and I mean really slowly, over lots of sessions, you gradually turn up the volume. You're basically rewiring their brain to think, oh, that sound means chicken is coming, instead of that sound means I'm about to be abandoned.
Okay, I have to stop and bust a huge myth right now. Please comfort your dog when they are scared. There's this old, outdated idea that you're rewarding the fear. You can't reward an emotion. Fear is not a trick they're doing for a treat. When you comfort your scared dog, you're not reinforcing fear, you're reinforcing your bond and letting them know that you are their safe place, and that is everything.
So really, this is the main thing to take away from all of this. Your dog isn't being bad. They're not being stubborn or spiteful. They're asking for help in the only way they know how. And when you learn to understand their language, you're empowered to give them the answer and the support they so desperately need. It's one of the most incredible parts of sharing your life with them.
Remember, this information is for educational purposes and is not a substitute for professional veterinary advice. If you have any concerns about your pet's health, please consult with your certified veterinarian. They are your best resource for ensuring your companion lives a long, happy, and healthy life.